10. This is just a quick video that's been designed to explain to you how you can actually write an effective comparative paragraph. And this should help you next week when you get your first assignment for the term, and it also will help you in being able to plan for your own comparison essay. So today is all about, and this recording is all about, how you can plan and write a decent, an effective, and a well-written comparative paragraph. All right, and we're going to use the text that we have been looking at in class as examples. So before you start to dive into finding evidence and looking for authorial choices, we need to come back a couple of steps and figure out a number of things first. So I'm going to use the text that we have been looking at in class, Immigrants at Central Station, and also Born a Crime, to showcase how you can go through this step-by-step process. So text A, let's call Immigrants at Central Station text A. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is text A trying to achieve? So what is its purpose? What message is text A trying to convey about identity? So I might say that for Immigrants at Central Station, I believe that the poet is trying to illustrate to the reader how immigrants form their identity based on feeling part of other immigrants, feeling part of another immigrant group. So all of these immigrants were at Central Station waiting for the train or hopped on the train together, and perhaps they find their identity while they are vagabonds in a sense, going from here to there with no actual home. Perhaps the poem is trying to explain to us, A, how difficult it is for immigrants, but B, how immigrants might find their identity as being in the label immigrant. And so perhaps they identify with other immigrants, and that's how their identity is shaped, kind of always as a foreigner. So that might be what I think the poem is trying to communicate to the audience about identity. And I might say that the poem's purpose is to illustrate the hardships that immigrants go through, but also it's to illustrate how someone who is an immigrant forms an identity based on that label. Let's say that, for example. I then need to ask myself, how do I know that this is the text's purpose and message? How do I know this? How do I know this? Like any good lawyer would in court, you then need to go through the text itself and find some examples of authorial choices that will give you evidence of that. It doesn't just mean it has to be a language feature, so a stylistic feature. Remember, authorial choices equals stylistic and formal features. That's our formula, okay? So I've done that for text A. I've figured out what the purpose is. I've pulled out a few examples. I then need to repeat that process for my second text, which is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So again, I go back and I say to myself, all right, what is Born a Crime? What's the purpose of Born a Crime? What message is it trying to convey to me about identity, and what's it trying to achieve here? I might say that Born a Crime, the purpose of Born a Crime is to inform, the primary purpose is to inform readers about the issues of segregation in South Africa, but also the secondary purpose might be to enlighten readers on how language creates an identity, all right? You could also say the purpose is to entertain, but that can come later on as well. So let's say I say the purpose is to inform readers on the ways that language forms an identity. That might be my purpose. Again, I need to say to myself, well, how do I know this? How do I know it's the text purpose? And how do I know that's the message? Let me find some examples, some good evidence through formal and stylistic features, okay? So far you've got, I know what the purpose is, I know what the message about identity is, they're kind of intertwined together, and then you've got your evidence. When you are doing text B, the other step is you need to be able to go back and ask yourself, okay, is Born a Crime's purpose similar or different to the purpose that I mentioned in Immigrants at Central Station? And that's where your comparison comes in. So you do the groundwork first, you figure out what you think about the purpose separately, you find some evidence separately, and then you look at them side by side and go, are they similar or are they different? Okay, that's how we plan it out. Now, how might this look in a paragraph? I'm going to show you a paragraph that's not on these two texts, but that would still use the exact same structure in terms of paragraph writing and peel structure if I was comparing two texts. So you now have immigrants at Central Station, and in your Venn diagram, you also have information on born a crime. You need to figure out the first two steps of this first, and then you need to ask yourself question 3. Once you've done that, let's have a look at my paragraph on purpose. So in today's lesson, we looked at a paragraph on audience, and it was using the texts, the 2 texts that were about bees. So have a listen to this. When analysing both texts, it is clear that both text A and text B share a similar primary purpose, as both are published to raise awareness on the negative impacts and consequences that may arise if the bee preserving situation was to worsen. However, text A differs largely from text B, mainly as text A is written with anecdotal yet with an anecdotal yet informative structure, as the entire article appears to be an extended anecdote and retell of John Miller and his struggle and experience as a beekeeper in America. Paired with the descriptive and cohesive writing style, there's my evidence, the author is able to include numerous facts about bees which aim to inform and educate the reader. Again, I'm mentioning the purpose of the text again. For example, the metaphorical phrase, more evidence, the animal bee migration isn't just a curiosity, it's the glue that holds much of the modern agriculture together, educates readers on the severity of the situation, and further explains the ways that bees play a prominent role in agriculture. On the other hand, text B, there's my comparison, on the other hand, text B makes use of a bright and colourful advertisement like yellow, which serves to attract the reader's attention, as well as eye-catching graphics, which fulfills its main purpose, again there's the purpose, of instilling a call to action in the reader. Unlike text A, more comparative language, text B aims to persuade readers to donate to their cause and help protect bees and the environment. Here, the use of a color-coordinated layout of black and yellow is symbolic to the image of bees, and the vibrant yellow in turn allows key information written in black to stand out, placing further emphasis on how readers can donate. In contrast to text B, so again I am doing more comparing, and this time I'm contrasting. In contrast to text B, in contrast to text A, text B also utilizes frequent inclusive language to draw an emotive response from the reader, particularly when phrases such as our, we, and you can help are used. Such inclusive language showcases that the purpose of text B is dissimilar to text A, as text B aims to persuade readers to donate, while text A strives to inform readers about the nature of beekeeping. So what you'll notice in this paragraph year 10 is that I have really, in the beginning, given a bit of a background on text A's purpose. I've started off by saying when analysing both texts, there's a similar primary purpose, but generally the purposes are very different, okay? But I start to go through the purpose of one text first, and I give the example, and then I use text B to do the comparing and contrasting. So if you go back to this plan that we had in place previously, you'll notice that step 3 really only needs to be spoken about in your point sentence, obviously, but when you start to look at text B, you're contrasting and comparing between what you've already said about text A. So my contrasting and my comparison, you'll notice in the second half of my paragraph in pink, there are lots of comparative phrases. On the other hand, unlike text A, in contrast to text A, to similar to, and there's only 1 or 2 in the beginning here. And of course the middle, and I've highlighted in yellow, anything that's to do with purpose and anything that's to do with me giving examples of how I can justify what the purpose of each text is, okay? Notice that when I'm explaining the effect on the reader, so down here I say, the use of a bright and colourful advertisement like yellow, which serves to attract the reader's attention, as well as eye-catching graphics, which fulfills its main purpose. My effect on the reader then becomes the justification for the purpose. So instead of just saying to engage the reader, which is vague and we don't do in the first place, I then back up my claim of what I said the purpose is in the first place by using authorial choices that can justify what I'm saying the primary purpose of the text is. So in the beginning, I did say that text B, which is the text that is yellow and bright and very short and asking for donations, its purpose is more so to persuade other people. And so here I've said which fulfills its main purpose of instilling a call to the reader. All right. So basically what I'd like you to do before Sunday is to have a crack at this yourself. Have a go. Use this plan on our previous slide to help you out. Okay. So using this plan here to plan out your paragraph, to draft out your ideas, then use this sample to help you and I guess and guide you in writing your sentences, okay, and structuring your paragraph. Lastly, don't forget that in our slides as well from today, we also have these expressions and phrases that are here to help you, your comparative word bank, okay? So guys, I will look forward to chatting to you on Sunday about this. And if you have any questions, don't forget you can email me, but please use the slides that are available and have a go, because I encourage you to have a go, but I can assure you as well that this will help you with your final assignment and help you with your essay writing. Thanks, guys.